Lights, camera, debate, ignite, passion strong under the spotlight. Tune in for the clash, tune in for the spark. The critic and the cynic light up the dark.
Welcome back to the Critic and the Cynic. The first one that aired was called Twas the Date Before Christmas. Obviously, we're making fun of the Twas the Night Before Christmas, and I feel like this is a title that has been done before. It sounds familiar, so let's take a look at what this is. What we have here is we have Robert Buckley as Brian. So, little backstory on this guy here. We're currently watching him on TV on a rewatch. It's a rewatch for Hillary. It's a first-time watch for me with One Tree Hill. One of the later seasons is when this guy shows up. His name is Clay. His character's name is Clay. I just met him. I don't know too much about him at all. But Hillary it's your favorite character, isn't it?
Definitely not. I don't know. There is just something about either the actor or the character that I just don't vibe with. I just want to punch him in the face. We'll just say that.
Yeah, well, you've always been somebody who connects more so with an actor and their life story and what's going on in their lives than you are about disassociating yourself and just watching the characters for the characters.
Yeah, but I don't know anything about this actor.
You're right. And again, I've only saw like one episode with him, so I can't say anything about it. He reminds me of Ryan Seacrest. That's all I will say. Anyways, let's see. To prevent her family from canceling the Chamberlain family Christmas Olympics, Jessie lies and says she's inviting a date to the long-standing holiday tradition. She meets Brian on a dating app, and he agrees to spend the holiday with her and her family. As Jessie and Brian engage in eccentric activities like the search for the Christmas tree star, gift wrapping contest, and snowball fights, they start to develop real feelings for each other. Soon, her family begins to catch on to their secret, and Brian suspects she might be hiding the real reason for her unusual Christmas date request. As the celebrations continue, Jessie must work to keep all her stories straight and save her date with Brian. So, how's that sound?
Well, it sounds like a movie we've all seen before. The Wedding Date comes to mind for me, which I actually enjoyed that one.
And I believe the Adam Sandler movie, Just Go With It, with Jennifer Aniston, was one as well. But it is a plot device that we have seen many times in romance in general. This is just with a Christmas twist, it seems like. Now, I will say, looking at the rating, 41 votes on Tracked.tv has it rated at 76%, and the Movie DB has 2 ratings, but that's at 80. So both of those are 8 out of 10. That's higher than I would expect from Hallmark.
But what is the audience? Like, is it just those people that wait all year for these movies to come out? Because if so, they're only looking for a fun time.
You're probably right on that. Tracked has a very wide audience. Like, everybody watches everything. However, this is more of a specialty thing. So the likelihood of somebody actually watching these movies in general probably does limit it to people who want to. So we'll just have to take that with a grain of salt. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be a good movie, or do you think it's going to be crap?
Crap. I might be biased because the only time that I've ever seen this actor was in One Tree Hill, and I just do not care for him.
For you, it's the actor.
Yes, and I can tell from the poster he's got that same annoying smile that, So I'm going to guess that I'm not going to like it, but maybe I will be pleasantly surprised.
That's all right. I know that you are, instead, you're waiting for a different One Tree Hill actor Christmas movie coming up in a later episode.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that at a different date. However, I will say that this plot in general, this premise, is something that I have had fun with in the past. I don't think that I've ever found it to be a very original thing, because it's not original, but I have had fun with it. So I'm hoping that it turns out that it's fun enough. I don't expect much of it. I think it's going to be pretty average. That's my takeaway from what it's going to be.
2 hours later.
Ah, yes. 'Twas the date before Christmas. Now, if I remember correctly, we thought this was going to be bad.
Yes.
We think that all of them were going to be bad, but like something about the poster, you didn't like the main actor, something about the plot kind of just seemed iffy. Just all around just seemed like one big cringe fest.
Yes. I still don't like the actor.
Yeah, once again, I've only seen him in the one episode of One Tree Hill, but now, like, I don't know, after watching the movie, I'm curious about what he brings to the table for One Tree Hill. But I think this was a surprising film, but there's different reasons why I think it was interesting.
Well, and to be fair, we were drinking, so we could have been a little bit happier.
That was one of the reasons why it might have been surprisingly entertaining. I think another reason why was because we were distracting ourselves from otherwise stressful moments in real life, as we were watching it on election night, and we're going back and forth from that to this to drinking to talking with some friends, and the whole experience was interesting. I think I was a little bit distracted plot-wise, but every time that I was watching and really paying attention to the movie, I was entertained because it reminded me a little bit of one of my favorite movies, Dan in Real Life, in which you had a family come together, a real big family, and they just exude warmth, and they play games together. And it just seems like a grand old time. And really, that's all the movie is.
Yes, I agree. Like, the family dynamic, that was entertaining. It was sweet, cozy. Definitely this movie gives off some cozy feels. I do a lot of reading the Cozy Mystery series.
Yes.
And it's the same thing. It's just so on the surface. And even when they dealt with really negative and dramatic things, it was always dealt with in such a very light way. So there wasn't a lot of emotion in this movie other than the fun, upbeat coziness. And
I would agree with that. Then again, I would say that's probably Hallmark. Isn't that their whole deal?
Most likely.
Yeah, I think Hallmark wants to feel good in general and warm and cozy. And I think a lot of these movies is going to have that feeling. But I think the main thing that connected with me was the connections that I felt while watching Dan in Real Life with this. And that's the big family, that's the togetherness, just the fun adventures of playing all these random holiday-themed games together. I thought that was interesting. Because Dan in Real Life, in a way, is, I think, themed around Thanksgiving. I think that there's a holiday in Dan in Real Life. I think that's one. I could be wrong, because I know that we were just talking about the people who made Dan in Real Life also made Pieces of April, which is a Thanksgiving movie. I might be mix and matching the two, but it's easy to get confused watching Dan in Real Life and think that it's a Thanksgiving movie because it's a family getting together and just hanging out, you know, getting their faces at screens and just enjoying each other's company. Yeah, I would say that even when it gets deep, like you said, you don't feel the emotion as much as you would with other films. I think that's probably going to be true, again, for everything Hallmark does. And I think that's the point. It doesn't want to get you down at all. It wants to approach important topics, but it doesn't want to do it in a way that gets you depressed while watching a holiday film.
See, I don't know. I disagree that would make you depressed, because I think sometimes being really emotional and crying can be cathartic, especially if it's a pivotal moment in a movie and you have some tears and then you come back from it. I think that's usually more powerful and more impactful to people.
Yes, some tears and some beers. Yeah. So, I guess we have to say 3 things that are good about it. I think we covered a lot of it. Mm-hmm. I think one of the main good things here is that it's feel good in nature. It's more surprisingly good than we thought it would be, even though we might have been a little bit too distracted to really make that call. And what else?
I would say that obviously it was a love story. All of these I'm sure are. And that the two leads, though the acting wasn't always perfect, you could believe that they had a mutual attraction and that they had chemistry.
Yeah. So, if you had to rate it, what would you rate it?
Like a percentage?
Percentage, or out of 10 or out of 5, however you would rate something.
Well, I'd say like 60%.
Yeah, I would say if it was out of 10, a 6 would be pretty on the nose. So, pretty average, a little bit higher. Basically, it did its job. It did its job.